No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Hey, I'm Jami Amarine.
And I'm Rebecca Huff.
Hi, Rebecca Huff. This is so much fun. It's like we're together.
Again.
Yeah, together again. Oh, hey, my timer just went off. So I guess I set it for 12 seconds instead of 12 minutes.
Good job.
So I wanted to talk, we're talking self-care again. And I want to talk about, this is my favorite self-care scripture, which this is from the Message. I don't usually love the Message translation, but I love this. And it's 1 Peter 5, live carefree before God. He is most careful with you. And that was whenever I first learned the message of grace and learned that there was nothing else that I could do or say to make him love me anymore. That was one of the scriptures that most stuck, that he is most careful with you. And because I was in the mindset that I was in trouble and anything bad that ever happened to me was because he was punishing me and that he was dishing out this horrible stuff because I was the worst. And so I loved that. He is most careful with you.
Yeah. What verse did you say that was? 1 Peter?
1 Peter 5. Oh, sorry. I lied. Hold on. 1 Peter 5:7.
Yeah. Ironically, that was my verse as well, but I'm not sure which version.
No, and I liked your version too. I want to hear that again.
Just giving all your anxiety and burdens to God because he cares for you.
Because he cares for you. Right.
Yeah.
So,
and if he cares for you.
Right. Yeah. We're in the mindset, and I think so many times we've heard this from other people where, oh, God must be trying to show you something, or it has to be hard. It has to be, he's refining you with the fire. And yeah, no. he did the hard thing. There's no catching up to the hard thing that happened. And nothing can separate you from his love. So I think it's really and truly a lot of times with self-care, it's common sense. Instead of this mindset that you're stealing from the poor when you take a luxury bubble bath or a vacation. And I remember there was somebody at our church one time that used to say that, well, God forgive me, we're taking a vacation. Really?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with, I hate to say this, but our upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it. I vividly remember as a child, if I heard my dad's tires on the gravel, I jumped up off the couch, I turned off Days of Our Lives, and I started cleaning because I didn't want him to come home and find me sitting.
Yeah.
And I carried that into my adulthood. For the longest, I would not want anyone to come into my house and find me relaxing on the couch, which is ridiculous, really. Because if you're not going to relax on the couch.
Yeah, no, I do.
If you're not going to do it at your house, where are you going to do it?
Yeah. I remember it's not been very long ago that Justin came home and caught me taking a nap, and I was horrified and embarrassed, apologized, and he was like,
I'm so sorry. I was taking a nap.
I was napping, on a chase. And
I totally get that.
Yeah.
And I understand. I don't know how to fix it other than just practicing this and reminding yourself that there is nothing wrong with taking care of yourself. I'm sure that you took care of all of Justin's needs that day as well.
Yeah.
It's not like you said, hey, stop by McDonald's on your way home. Get yourself something to eat. I'm going to take a nap.
No, I didn't.
So no reason to feel guilty about it.
He's so generous. He's also so generous with caring for me that it's almost, I like to think of it this way too. Like if you had a bag of $1 million and went and sat down with someone, you were going to give them $1 million and it was going to utterly change the entire scope of their life. Everything about their life was going to be different. And you sat down and you handed them the bag and they set the bag down next to them and then just started talking to you about how broke they were. And you're just like, in the bag. Stop and just look in the bag. And for me, that's how I feel that I was with Jesus forever is that he was like, I came to give you life and peace and joy abundant. You're doing a great job. I love you. You're wonderful. Take a freaking nap, and it's that look in the bag, idiot, to open the bag and see.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah. See what's there for you. See how abundance, I think, people get all freaked out over abundance, but abundance isn't money. Abundance is peace, joy, abundant, and I had none of those things prior to actually when I was writing my book, but the mindset was that I needed to achieve those things, and they're a free gift. And if you purchase something, it's no longer a gift. And if you earn something, it's a wage. So these things, I think it's even the mindset of, well, I deserve this. And I think that mindset actually takes us down a rabbit hole where then we're overindulgent and we have remorse. So instead of this set plan for caring for oneself, it gets completely out of control. And the next day you wake up next to an empty bag of Cheetos and an empty bottle of tequila, and and then you're like, oh, instead of like a set, this is for me. This is for me because it's going to make me feel good and because it's a blessing. So
definitely. And I think what you said, it kind of triggered something in my memory. Is I tried to explain that gift giving thing to someone as, I at one point had given someone something that was very valuable, and there's no way they could have afforded to pay me for it. And I didn't want them to. It was a gift from me to them. And they were just overwhelmed with gratitude, and I didn't want them to feel bad or anything, but they started then offering to give me a little bit of money for it. And I'm like, I don't want you to give me a little bit of money. If you give me money, all you are getting from me, I'm just giving you a good deal.
mm-hmm.
What I want to actually give you is a gift. And there's a huge difference between, she gave me this and I bought it for $5, but it's worth $500.
Mm-hmm.
And she gave me this, no strings attached.
Right.
I mean, and that's how we should be looking at it. Because when you add to it, you're devaluing God's gift that he's already given to you. You're like saying, well, can I give you just a little bit for it?
Yeah.
It
undermines it, and it undermines it from a spiritual aspect and from a physical aspect. If we get into if women especially get into the mindset of what we are deserved or what we're owed, I mean, seriously, it robs from the people that we're serving, and it robs from us. And like I said, for me, when I was in the mindset of, well, I deserve this, instead of just, this is how I care for myself, instead of trying to pay myself back for all my good deeds, I ended up making colossal mistakes that weren't good for me, because it was like I was owed something. And
I was at the opposite end of that spectrum. I never did any self-care because I didn't think I deserved any of it.
Yeah, that's dangerous too. But you think about, seriously thinking about that from either angle. If there's some anger that comes along with thinking, I deserve this, so I'm going to do it, come hell or high water. This is for me. Versus the calmness of the balance of understanding it's okay that this is my thing and this is the thing that I need to make things go well for everybody else that I'm taking care of.
Right.
So, and then, if you don't think you deserve it, that's even just as, and I think that brings you to a whole nother breaking point, where you.
It definitely does.
Yeah. So.
Mentally and physically.
Yes.
And spiritually.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of it, I've been thinking about this as I'm taking notes for some weight loss stuff that I'm doing in my next book proposal and stuff. And it really is, sometimes I think we put too much spiritual into just what, I mean, if you're going to look at it from this point of view, because I've always said this about my Weight Watchers points where, the Lord's last straw, like it's not that he doesn't care. I mean, he knows every hair on my head. But when you stop thinking that is something that separates you from God, or that that's such a huge concern to him about how he feels about you, there's such a lull of there's so much relief to it that you can actually have a relationship with Jesus, because you don't have to explain yourself to him. You're not in trouble. Everything's cool. And
expectations are gone.
Yeah. And then it's just a bubble bath. It's not robbing from your children or, overindulgent or any of those things. It's just this simple gift of peace of mind. And
yeah, it's good. And that made me think of something else, is your family benefits from you taking care of yourself. But not only that, we think they don't want us to have self-care, but that's a wrong mindset. I know my kids love when I just take a pajama day, or I say, I'm just going to sit on the couch and read books all day today. My kids get so excited. You'd think there was 5 feet of snow outside and they were going sledding, because it's great. We get to see mom relaxing and sitting down. This is unusual. I mean, why would we think that our kids would not want us to take care of ourselves?
I don't know. And, actually, that being said, if you think about when they buy something for you, my son Luke works at Lush in the Woodlands.
Oh, wow.
And he was so excited for Christmas because everything that he bought was an indulgence, some way of blessing someone with rest and comfort.
So
and he was excited, and so it's actually a neat way to think of it, is that it is a gift, and you take so much away from it when you're overthinking it. Just do it, just have that thing that's your thing. And then I really do think verbalizing, even if it's just going to the grocery store by yourself. I mean, for me, any time alone is usually something that I can chalk up to self-care. So a phone call with a friend or lunch or whatever. But I think that we were just in the mindset that it has to be this huge, big thing, and that there needs to be some resolve of guilt with it.
Right.
So,
but really what it actually is structuring your day in a way that you don't feel like you need to escape from it. Structure your day, build in those little bits of self-care here and there to the point where you don't feel like you need a vacation to recuperate from your life.
Right.
That's how I'm looking at self-care, is just every day, how can I take care of myself a little bit today? Because along the same lines as this, I don't know if you remember a while back, it was pretty controversial about the me time myth or something like that. Is it wrong to take someone, maybe a blogger out there somewhere, had written an article about me time and how selfish me time is. And I remember reading that and thinking, oh, and then I was super guarded about ever saying I was taking me time, which it wasn't even a phrase that I would use. But I think the guilt trip, it did a lot of harm.
Well, and I mean, it's really silly. I think that sometimes with blog posts too, that sometimes people just like the shock factor, dear mama, kind of, I know how you're feeling. No, you don't.
I get her point, because what I think he was trying to say is that when we take me time, we just end up wanting more of it. And so, in a way, I can see that, like when I do have time alone, like, I have my days that my husband is off work and he lets me have some time to do my thing. And, yes, I do look forward to that day each week, but it's not like, oh, I wish I had Tuesdays and Thursday. I don't feel that way. I'm completely, rejuvenated and ready to take on another week. But that brings me to the point of, I have created in my day, in my life, just a lifestyle of taking care of myself so that I can continue taking care of them. I mean, as you get older, I think self-care is even more important. So I tell my young girls, my daughters, they're not all young, they're spread all out. But I tell them, get in the habit of taking care of yourself now so that it will be that habit later, and you won't have to go through this, oh, how am I going to take care of my, and it's not even that I wake up and think, how am I going to take care of myself today? I have made those steps, habits, taking my vitamins, drinking enough water, going to bed. I go to bed at the same time every night. I turn my phone off 2 hours before I go to sleep. That's my self-care, because I don't want to be looking at other people's problems on my phone, whether it's text from other people or whether it's somebody's rant on Facebook or a fire I need to put out in my email inbox, whatever it is. I don't want to be thinking about that when I'm getting ready to go to bed. So for me, self-care is turning my phone off, putting it somewhere not in my bedroom, not near my bed.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and then I'm off, okay? Before we had cell phones, you weren't on all the time.
No, that's a good point.
You weren't accessible at any minute of the day. Do you ever realize, like, if you want to tell me something, every thought that pops into my head, I tell my husband instantly. I feel sorry for the man. He's at work trying to do his job, and I'm like, well, so-and-so did such and such. I can't even imagine, like, what? And then I was telling myself, why are you doing that? Because, back before cell phones, did I call every single time? Guess what just happened?
No, I was just thinking.
Go through our day.
I texted Justin while I was at the grocery store today, and I texted him like 2 things that Sam did, and then I texted him some lady wasn't dressed appropriately, and then I texted him and I was like checking out.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this is like a play-by-play of the grocery store, and that really is. Those are really good points.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying you shouldn't text your husband.
No,
I'm saying
I'm thinking what you said though that is so poignant is that when did it become necessary for that to happen? And then 2, when he's home, this is a whole nother issue, I guess. And I know we need to wrap up, but do I talk to him that much when he's at home? And I really do think in some ways, we run out of conversations because he's had the play-by-play.
Right. Yeah. Well, anyways, that is a good way to practice self-care. And I have done it for several years now. And that is something that has helped me tremendously. I get up at the same time and go to bed at the same time every day of the week, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all of the days. And because that sets my sleep cycle, and I don't use an alarm. I haven't used an alarm. I can't even remember using an alarm because if you get up at the same time every single day, your body gets used to getting up at that time. I mean, obviously it takes time to set your sleep cycle. Mm-hmm. But so then, turn your phone off for a while. That's 10 minutes.
Really smart. Yeah. This is off the subject, but we live, the house we're living in right now is 10,000 square feet. And so there's been a couple times.
Where's my phone?
Well, no, that Luke has been locked out. He'll get off work at like 11 and he's locked out, and he'll call our cell phones and say, hey, somebody let me in. And there was one time I woke up and it was like 2 hours later, he did end up going to a friend's house.
That has happened to my son as well. My son's had to spend the night with a friend. My son's actually slept in our garage before because no one would let him in. Well, my husband doesn't turn off his phone, and my other teenage daughter, before she moved out, she did not turn off her cell phone at night. So when he would come home, because I go to bed early, I'm the earliest to bed person in this house. And so they know I turn my phone off like 7 o'clock or whatever. And so they would text each other or call each other. They would never call me in the case of an emergency. Oh, nope, too late for mom to have an emergency. I mean, that's sacred time to me. Yeah. I guard that time. So it's so valuable to me because that's my self-care, is giving myself that downtime and getting myself.
Oh, that's a note to end on. Be like Rebecca. That's brilliant.
Oh, hush.
No,
don't be like Rebecca.
I really do think that I need to get my phone away from me before bed.
That would be a good little self-care. You can start with like 15 minutes before you go to sleep, and then just
2 hours. I like that 2 hour thing. I know Justin's
You'll be amazed at how your mind gets freed up. Suddenly you actually can hear your own thoughts, and you actually start thinking some new thoughts, not what other people want you to think at that moment. You're going to love
brilliant. So okay. So this has been another episode with Jami and Rebecca, where Jami just learned something she's going to try. That's awesome.
We'll get back with you and let you know how it goes.
Okay.
I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Yeah,